This holiday, Verizon is helping you bundle up incredible gifts and savings. You'll get the latest phone with a new line on My Plan and a brand new smartwatch and tablet. No trade-in needed, even on our lowest price plan. That's 2 gifts for your family and 1 for you. Or 2 for you and 1 for someone else. Or 3 gifts for you and only you. Either way, you save big on 3 amazing gifts at Verizon. All on the best 5G network. Visit Verizon today. Rankings based on Root Metric Root Score Report dated 1/8/2025. Your results may vary. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Additional terms apply.
Here's how to stay alive longer so you can enjoy Boost Mobile's unlimited plan with a price that never goes up. Do not mistake a wasp nest for a piñata. Stay alive and switch now at Boost Mobile. After 30 gigs, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
What are you reaching for? If you're a smoker or vapor, you could be reaching for so much more with Zyn nicotine pouches. When you reach for Zyn, you're reaching for 10 satisfying varieties and 2 strengths for a smoke-free experience that lets you lean in, for chances to break free from your routine, and a unique nationwide community. Whatever you're reaching for, reach for it with America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Find yours Zyn wherever nicotine products are sold near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
I am coming to tickle you with a new live tour called Nick Offerman Big Woodchuck. Please visit nickofferman.co for tickets and information and other delights.
A lot of supplement brands chase trends, but if you're serious about your health, we know research-backed science is what actually moves the needle. Momentous works with the best brains in human science to create every formula, and every batch is made of pure ingredients, tested for safety, and does not contain fillers. So you get the best long-term results possible. Creatine isn't just for muscle gains, it's essential daily fuel for your brain, body, and long-term performance. Momentous CreaPure Creatine is backed by leading performance experts like Dr. Andrew Huberman and Dr. Stacy Sims. Sourced exclusively in Germany, CreaPure sets the gold standard for creatine, delivering the purest form, creatine monohydrate, that's rigorously washed and never cut with fillers. With over 2,000 5-star reviews, over 112,000 customers have seen the results firsthand. With Momentous, the fundamentals are done right. Right now, Momentous is offering our listeners up to 35% off your first subscription order with promo code ACAST. Go to livemomentous.com and use promo code ACAST for up to 35% off your first subscription order. That's livemomentous.com, promo code ACAST.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Whispering Woods podcast. And as if you didn't notice, Toby is not with me today. He won't be on any of the episodes this week because it's that time of year, everything gets really hectic. I get behind, I'm chasing my tail, and we've also got some stuff going on at home. So I'm behind in the sense of recording with Toby, but I'm not behind in actually getting the episodes out. So I do hope you'll forgive me. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so by visiting patreon.com/The Whispering Woods, where we have a number of tiers. For £2.50 a month, you can listen completely ad-free to the Whispering Woods episodes. For £4.50, you can listen ad-free to the Whispering Woods and our After Dark episodes, which I will be changing at some point. I've just not got round to it yet. So in the near future, those episodes will all be on the Whispering Woods feed. We're also on Apple Premium, where for $4.99 a month, you can listen ad-free to all episodes. That's kind of all the news I've got today, apart from we've got this next week just up until Christmas, and then we've got 12 days of festive fear coming out. That would take us up to and including the 5th of January, the 12th night. We're actually away. We're going away that week to Devon because that's my little gift to myself after I get through Christmas, so I can just chill out, take some books, look for ghosts, walk on the beach with Luna, do the stuff I need to do so that I remain relatively sane. Because I lose it this time of year. But there will be normal episodes after the 5th, so from the 6th, which I believe is going to be Classic Ghost Story, which we're going to carry through now to the end of February, have March off from that extra episode, and then we'll bring back the haunted episodes from April. So yeah, there was a bit of news. Right, this episode is all about MYLING. And it's really interesting in a folklore sense. Very much like Changeling, different creature, but you can see the background of where the folklore comes and why it happened. And I thought it was really interesting. We'll get straight into it. Are you ready for the story? To understand the MYLING, we must step back into a not-so-distant past, when life in Scandinavia could be cruel and unforgiving. In earlier centuries, the 17th, 18th, and even 19th, poverty and strict social norms cornered some women into desperate choices. Unmarried motherhood was a grave scandal in those days, a source of shame that society rarely forgave. With limited options and harsh punishment, some women felt driven to do the unthinkable, to quietly dispose of a newborn baby born out of wedlock, or one they could not care for. Infanticide, as horrific as it sounds, occurred often enough to become a dark open secret in those times. Babies might be smothered at birth, abandoned in the woods, drowned in a bog or brook, or left in the cold to die. In Sweden, such an unwanted child was sometimes called utbolling or ukastning, among other names. But the term MYLING eventually entered folklore to describe its ghost. The word MYLING literally comes from an Old Norse root, myroa, meaning to murder, combined with the diminutive ling, implying little one, essentially little murdered one. Tellingly, it can also mean the small one who murders, hinting at the vengeful nature these spirits sometimes display. In Norwegian, the more common term was utbird, which translates roughly to that which is carried out, referring to the practice of carrying a newborn out to the wilderness to die. The word utbird carries a chilling double meaning. Ut means out, and bird can mean both born and burden. Thus, utbird can imply an outborn child, cast out of society, and also an extra burden, perhaps reflecting how the spirit later becomes a literal burden on the living. These lost children were not given proper burials or baptism. From a Christian perspective, that meant their souls were in limbo, denied entry into hallowed ground and the peace that comes with it. Both belief held that such innocents, having died unbaptized and unjustly, could not rest in their unmarked graves. Instead, their souls returned as angry or grieving ghosts, the MYLINGer, bound to the places where they died or to the people who caused their deaths. By haunting the living, the MYLING forces the terrible secret into the open. In fact, many folklorists believe these tales served as a warning. No infanticide can remain hidden. The MYLING's persistent cries, would ensure that the crime was eventually discovered, either by supernatural means or by guilty conscience. One Swedish folklorist notes that stories of MYLING were often told to frighten unmarried girls into understanding that murdering a child would only lead to greater horror. The societal message was clear: the truth will out, and even a mother's attempt to silence her baby's life could not silence its voice after death. While the moral lesson is stark, the MYLING legend is also rooted in genuine tragedy. As late as the 1800s, cases have been found of infant skeletons hidden in walls or barns, discovered during renovations. These grim finds remind us that the legend of the MYLING was born from real events. The folklore transformed these tragedies into cautionary ghost stories. Each anonymous tiny skeleton from a bygone era was given a voice, a wailing, wandering spirit, to ensure it would not be forgotten. The MYLING is often described as one of the most menacing ghosts in Scandinavian folklore, not because it's physically imposing, but because of the pure desperation and anger it embodies. These are not gentle, wistful apparitions. They are restless and demanding. Their primary desire is simple: to be acknowledged and laid to rest. Whether that means a proper burial, a baptism, or even vengeance, how they go about achieving that, according to legend, can be truly frightening. In nearly all accounts, a MYLING makes itself known first by sound. People speak of hearing disembodied cries, whimpers, or screams of a baby or young child, echoing in lonely places. In folklore, the traveller who hears such a cry might be led off the safe path. There are tales of the ghost cries deliberately misleading people, similar to will-o'-the-wisp lights, known as earbloss in Scandinavia, that lure travellers astray. In one account from Norway's northern region, locals spoke of alarming cries from the smallest of children pursuing people who were out after dark. These heart-rending sobs could follow a person for miles through the woods, never letting up, no matter how much they prayed or how fast they ran. Traditional wards against evil, making the sign of the cross or casting a piece of steel behind you, were said to have no effect on a determined MYLING. The relentless crying would continue until the living did what the dead child wanted. So what does the MYLING want? Sources vary, but two common themes emerge. The spirit either begs for proper rites or announces its identity to expose the guilty. In many Swedish and Norwegian legends, the ghost will plead to be given a name and baptized. In other tales, witnesses describe hearing the ghost baby utter phrases like, name me, or give me a name, over and over in the night. This reflects the belief that an unbaptized child's soul is in limbo. Giving it a name and a Christian baptism, even symbolically, might allow it to finally rest. On the other hand, some MYLINGs have a more vengeful agenda. Rather than asking for help, they might announce who they are and what was done to them. The common element in these stories is that the MYLING's cry will include words that expose their mother or killer. In a historical case from Helgeland, Norway, in 1685, An apparition's voice was said to cry out, asking for Mother Nil, and claiming it was the child of Nil and a man named Mads, who'd been killed right after birth. This led the local priest to uncover an infanticide, and the mother, a servant named Nil Jensdatter, was ultimately charged and executed. We'll revisit that case in a moment. The key pattern is that the ghost itself, through wails or sometimes coherent words, forces humans to discover its hidden corpse or its true identity, bringing the secret crime into the light. The MYLING isn't only heard, it can also be felt. A particularly frightening motif in Scandinavian folklore is the MYLING riding on a victim's back. The legend says that if a lone wanderer passes near the unmarked grave of a lost child, the MYLING may suddenly leap onto their back or shoulders, clinging with an inescapable grip. The traveller will feel an astonishing weight, far beyond what a small child should weigh. With each step toward the nearest churchyard or village, toward consecrated ground, the burden grows heavier and heavier. In some stories, the dead child's ghost is light at first, but becomes gigantic in size as it rides, swelling to weigh down the carrier and almost drive them into the earth. This can be seen as the spirit's desperation to reach hallowed ground. It forces the human to carry it there, almost as if saying, "I will not let you go until you take me where I can rest." But this is a dangerous task. If the unfortunate person staggers and fails, if they collapse under the supernatural weight before reaching the churchyard, the MYLING's legend says it will kill them in a rage. Those who do make it to the cemetery with a MYLING on their back often experience the spirit suddenly vanishing the moment they cross onto holy ground. The child's soul is then pacified, its remains can be properly buried, and it can finally rest in peace. While the sound of the MYLING is usually a crying infant, the appearance of the MYLING is inconsistent across stories. Often, people don't see anything at all. The ghost is invisible, manifesting only as a disembodied voice or a pressure on the back. Yet some regional legends describe visual encounters. In parts of Sweden, a MYLING might appear exactly as the corpse of a baby or toddler, sometimes with gruesome details. Witnesses claim to see a pale child with a red ring around its neck or bloodstains, reflecting strangulation or violence at death. Other stories depart wildly from that image. In northern tales, the MYLING can become a gigantic figure, one that grows taller than the treetops as it approaches, perhaps symbolising the growing burden trope. In one unnerving variant, a MYLING took the form of a large black bird that swooped at its sinful mother, scratching her face with talons. And on occasion, the restless child is said to shapeshift into animals or even mundane objects. Folklore archives include mentions of a MYLING appearing as a floating ball of light, a rolling ball of yarn, or even a pig scampering around, all with the goal of attracting attention or harassing the guilty. Despite these different guises, a few signature behaviours mark the MYLING in whatever form. Its heart-breaking cries, the sense of unnatural weight or pressure, and often a fixation on a specific location, typically where its body is hidden. Many traditions say the MYLING's cries can only be heard by certain people, often by the very family members responsible for its plight. A mother who committed the deed might be the only one who hears the ghost calling, Mama. Or villagers might say it haunts the site of its death. And only those with a connection to that sinful act will hear the wailing. People in old Scandinavia took measures to prevent such hauntings. Some believed that iron objects could subdue a restless ghost. For example, laying scissors or nails with a buried body was thought to pin the spirit down. An old Swedish story speaks of a mother who buried her baby under the floor and placed an open iron scissor on top of the tiny corpse to stop it from walking again. Iron, being a common charm against the supernatural, was supposed to keep the dead quiet. In that story, however, the dead child still made its presence known by singing a rhyme from beneath the floorboards, complaining that only the scissors kept it from rising to dance with its mother. In many MYLING tales, any protective charms or fake magic only delay the inevitable discovery. The ghost will not rest until it has been acknowledged through naming or until its remains receive proper rites. Stories of MYLINGA appear across Sweden, Norway, and other Nordic regions, dating back centuries. While the core elements remain similar, each location added its own twist or tale to the legend. One common Swedish legend involves a community dance or party disrupted by the eerie intervention of a MYLING. A classic version comes from upland Sweden. A long time ago, some young people were dancing in a barn loft during a celebration. Unbeknownst to them, years earlier, a farm girl had secretly buried her newborn baby under the floor where they danced. On this night, as fiddles played and feet stomped, a tiny voice suddenly shrieked from beneath the wooden planks, startling everyone. The disembodied voice cried out a rhyming warning. Local dialect versions say it says, "Legs are long, the tub is tight, let me up, I want to dance a while." In that moment, the horrified young mother who had buried the child was present, and she knew the jig was up. They pried open the floor, and there, as the story goes, the skeletal remains of a baby were found in an old washtub. Freed by discovery, the little ghost rose up. One by one, the spectral child sat in the lap of each person present. When at last it climbed into its birth mother's lap, it twisted the woman's head right off in revenge. The ghost then vanished, its justice fulfilled. Even into the 20th and 21st centuries, the MYLING lives on in local lore. In the town of Kisa, in southern Sweden, an infamous haunted hill called Starberget is said to be home to a particularly mischievous MYLING named Weitsten. According to tradition, Weitsten was the illegitimate son of a local girl. In shame, the mother killed her baby boy and hid him in a wooden bucket, shoved deep in a rocky crevice on Starberget. But the child's spirit did not stay put. As Weitsten's ghost grew, the bucket could not hold him. People would hear his voice from the mountain, crying out, "Legs long, bucket narrow, remove the peg," as he struggled in the cramped tub. Over the years, Weitsten's ghost became a local trickster. The legend says he loved to play pranks on passers-by near the hill. Countless horse-drawn wagons mysteriously overturned while going by Starberget, and travellers blamed Weitsten's unseen hand for the mishaps. In one famous story, Weitsten even revealed himself at a feast to expose his family. At a wedding celebration, the merrymakers were astonished when a small ghostly boy leapt onto the banquet table. He began to dance and sing. "Here dances Per's grandson from Mainholt." The bride's father was named Per, and with that accusatory song, the spectral child announced exactly who he was, the son of Per's daughter, revealing the family's dark secret. Weistin's mother, the bride, broke down and confessed on the spot. The legend concludes that the child's remains were then retrieved from the mountain crevice and given a proper burial, finally silencing Weistin's mischief. To this day, Starberget is regarded as an eerie place. Modern residents still talk about Weistin as a cautionary tale, and some hikers avoid the summit at dusk, just in case they might hear a child's faint laughter or feel a little ghost shove. Moving to Norway, one of the best documented MYLING encounters dates back to the late 17th century. The case of Nil Jensdatter of Steigen, 1687, is often cited. Here's what happened. For some years, the farmhouse of Skalvoll in Steigen parish was rumoured to be haunted by a baby's ghost. The new tenants of the farm reported unexplained sounds, scratching, knocking, and the unmistakable cries of an infant at night. Neighbours said that the cries sounded like they were calling for someone. Nil more, Mother Nil. Eventually the authorities became involved, under the guidance of the local priest, and an era of deep belief in the supernatural. An investigation pointed to a former servant girl, Nil Jensdatter, who years before had given birth in secret. Confronted with the testimonies, including an account that the ghost itself spoke, claiming to be Nil's child and naming its father, Nil at first denied everything, but after several days in custody, she confessed that in 1673 she had indeed delivered a baby boy out of wedlock, and in desperation killed the child and hid the body. The ghost's revelations were thus confirmed. The infant's remains were supposedly recovered, though details are scant. And as tragic as it is, Nil Jensdatter was executed by beheading on December the 16th, 1687. Another legend comes from the far north, often attributed to Lapland, a region spanning Sweden and Finland. A story is told of a young woman who had hidden the birth and death of her child. Sometime later, this woman was about to be married. As she stood at the altar or joined the dance at her wedding feast, accounts vary, a faint song drifted through the air. It was the voice of a child, singing along to the wedding music. The words called out the mother's shame in a sorrowful melody. One version claims the voice sang a rhyme accusing the bride of being its mother and recounting how it died. The ghostly serenade stopped the wedding. The bride, overcome with guilt and terror, confessed in front of all the guests that she had killed her newborn and hidden him. In the aftermath, people searched and found a tiny skeleton buried in the stable. The remains were taken to the churchyard and properly interned. Only then did the phantom singing stop. The age of folklore is not truly over. Even in modern times, stories of what could be MYLINGs continue, though often they are now called simply ghost hauntings. A notable example is the famed Dalen Hotel in Telemark, Norway, a luxurious wooden hotel from the 1890s. which harbours a ghostly legend of its own. The story goes that in the late 19th century, an English woman known only as Miss Greenfield stayed in room 17 at the hotel. She was elegant and kept herself to herself. And unbeknownst to the staff, she was in the late stages of a secret pregnancy. Sadly, it's said that her baby was born in that room and died. Whether by illness or by the desperate actions of the mother remains unclear. Miss Greenfield departed, but the tragedy left a spiritual scar. To this day, guests and staff at Darlin Hotel report inexplicable phenomena in and around room 17. The most common experience is hearing the faint sound of a baby crying in the night when no child is present. Beyond famous sites, you can find countless personal anecdotes in paranormal forums and local lore that sound just like MYLING encounters. Hikers in the Scandinavian wilderness have occasionally reported hearing what they thought was a baby or a small child crying far away, only for the sound to stop abruptly when they moved toward it, with no sign of any child to be found. On Swedish language discussion boards, one mother shared that when she moved into an old cottage, she and her family would sometimes wake to a phantom crying, as if a baby was sobbing under the floor, a sound that left them deeply unnerved, until they eventually learned a newborn had died in that house generations past. The implication being the baby hadn't been properly buried in hallowed ground. The idea of a forsaken child spirit is universally eerie and tragic, so it's no surprise that any unexplained baby cry or childlike apparition in Scandinavia tends to get linked to the old MYLING lore. One Reddit user from Sweden recounted walking through a wooded area at night and hearing what sounded like a toddler giggling one moment and crying the next, which gave them nightmares afterwards. Another poster in Norway described a family legend. An ancestor heard a baby crying near a bog on their farm. Remembering the folklore, he quickly shouted out two names, one male, one female, saying, "I christen you with these names," and the crying stopped on the spot.
This holiday, Verizon is helping you bundle up incredible gifts and savings. You'll get the latest phone with a new line on My Plan, and a brand new smartwatch and tablet. No trade-in needed, even on our lowest price plan. That's 2 gifts for your family and 1 for you. Or 2 for you and 1 for someone else. Or 3 gifts for you and only you. Either way, you save big on 3 amazing gifts at Verizon. All on the best 5G network. Visit Verizon today. Rankings based on Root Metric Truth Score report dated 1/8/2025. Your results may vary. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Additional terms apply.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day. Yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
I really didn't know how to feel about what happened with these babies, because that kind of pressure on women to get rid of a baby because of how society was must have been awful. It's shameful when we look back. And I doubt very much if any of the men got in trouble, or the proportion to women would have been extremely low. It's one of those things, isn't it? It happened all over, where women got pregnant out of wedlock, illegitimate children, And it was either hushed up, they were put in these mother and baby institutes and basically terrorized, or you can see why infanticide happened because of that social pressure. The creature itself, I'd like to think that all babies are innocent, but maybe something else was coming through as well. Maybe it was something else that was actually malicious. Because, babies are innocent, aren't they? Children are, until they get to a certain age, and then they're right little terrors, let me tell you. I'm sure a lot of you got experience of that. Well, that's the end of this episode, and I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you again tomorrow for the ghost story. Take care, everyone.
You know you've reached peak couple energy when your undies match. MeUndies Match Me has you both covered, literally, in super soft ultra-modal undies, socks, PJs, and loungewear. Festive prints? Check. Cozy vibes? Double check. And right now, it's deal season. Get up to 50% off site-wide for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Take your couple game to the next level with MeUndies Match Me. To get deals up to 50% off, go to MeUndies.com/ACAST. Enter promo code ACAST. That's MeUndies.com/ACAST. Code ACAST.
I am a coach and an alum of Girls on the Run. Kids today carry a lot of stress, from school pressure to social isolation to overuse of devices. We create a space where girls can connect, build confidence, and learn skills like managing emotions, setting goals, and speaking up. Each child's experience is different, and families need support. I'm proud to be part of a comprehensive solution to youth mental health. Get involved today at EmpowerOurFutureCoalition.com.
Hi, this is Knox from the podcast with Knox and Jamie. What are you reaching for? If you're a smoker or a vapor, you're reaching for nicotine satisfaction and all the problems that come with smoking or vaping, but you could be reaching for Zyn nicotine pouches. Let's talk about what Zyn helps you reach for. First, it helps with variety, 10 flavored and unflavored Zyn varieties in either 3 milligram or 6 milligram strengths. And also, because Zyn is smoke-free, you don't have to think about lingering smells or clunky devices. Whatever you're reaching for, reach for it with America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Find your Zyn at Zyn.com. That's ZYN.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.